I'll be reading from Chapter 5 of my new horror novel, Unpardonable Sin. The scene begins with Jeffrey Conley, the main character, finding himself in front of a mirror, and he's afraid of mirrors. He opens his eyes, sits up. He sees himself and realizes he is facing the mirror. Behind his mirror image, two shapes approach, one skeletal and made of light, the other more solid and moving toward him. He tries to look away, but something fixes his gaze as if he is chained to the mirror with his eyes pried open. Something death-pale moves toward him, walking on two legs, but it is not human. The sickly creature, ribs sticking through thin skin, has lips as large as those painted on a clown. It opens its toothless mouth and smiles. Jeffrey wrenches himself away from the mirror and turns around. A thin, electronic voice says, "See you soon, in my house." The creature's mouth barely moves, as if someone sculpted a permanent grin into its skin and facial and jaw muscles. Jeffrey wrenches himself away from the mirror, forces his feet to move, and runs outside. A rumble of thunder rolls in a darkening sky, and lightning flashes underneath a massive black cumulonimbus cloud. "Crap," he thinks. "God, don't force me back inside, not now." Flash strikes a bush on the fence line, parting it into pieces that scatter sparks into the darkness. A pile of leaves begins to burn, but rain pours along with quarter-inch hail and snuffs the fire. Jeffrey jumps back as a thunderclap slaps his eardrums. He falls on the stone steps leading to the back door, gets up and opens a screen door. The wind slams it shut before he can close it, and he hooks the eye. He wants to turn on the TV to check for weather reports, but the lightning is too severe. He unplugs the TV as larger hail, sounding like golf balls striking, slams into the roof. Jeffrey looks outside, and in the distance a writhing snake-like funnel connects cloud to ground. He runs to the basement door, opens it, steps into the narrow stairwell, and turns on the light. He hooks the door and walks down dusty steps into dank dampness mixed with dirt and old dead roots of forgotten trees. As Jeffrey squeezes his eyes shut, a loud clap of thunder startles him, and he falls to the ground. All goes dark. Jeffrey's ears ring for several minutes after he sets up, the basement black as night except for a faint light from the tiny window. He extends his arms, finds the first step on the stairs, climbs up two more, and sits, lights flashing before his eyes. Outside, a roar like a freight train fills the air. Jeffrey watches the weather enough on television to know this is not a train. The tornado has arrived. Jeffrey's heart sinks and he cowers in the dark, praying the house will be spared, that Granny and Aunt Jenny are safe. The sound of hundreds of animals squeaking combines with the outside roar. Oh no, they're rats. They must be afraid of the storm, and the patter of small feet expands into a stampede, their screeches grating against Jeffrey's ears, which he covers with his hands. They must live in the crawl space. Hundreds of thumps follow as rats fall down to the dirt floor. Some land on the steps. Their shadowy shapes coalesce into a devil's dance, and a few rats chance to land on Jeffrey's lap. Sharp claws dig into his upper legs. He screams as razor teeth incise the side of his face. He tries to get up so he can run up the stairs, storm be damned, when a pale figure appears in front of him. Has someone broken into the house, perhaps frightened by the storm? The figure floats closer, an inhuman hiss filling the dank air. Jeffrey prays that he is caught by a bad dream. He puts his hand over his chest, which feels solid, and his pounding heart makes it clear that he remains in the real world. The creature floats above Jeffrey's head, sinks to the dirt floor, and solidifies. A gray, sickly glow illuminates thick, toothless, pale, swollen lips, an image of horror and disgust, the pupils of its eyes dark, dilated, and dead, and yet alive. Clawed hands emerge from reptilian arms. He must be a demon. Jeffrey is sure of that, as he is sure of the heat from the creature burning his arms. The demon turns its head slightly to the side, examining Jeffrey. Jeffrey forces himself to rationalize. "I hit my head," Jeffrey says, looking away. "You're not real." "You think I'm just your jostled brain, boy? Touch me, then tell me I'm not real." Jeffrey tries to formulate a theological defense against the horror. He never believed that demons could disturb people today in line with his church's beliefs. The demon figure, therefore, must be an illusion. Jeffrey stretches out his right hand and grabs the demon on the shoulder. Jeffrey's hand involuntarily jerks back, and he screams, stumbles up the steps, coming close to falling back on those claws. The searing pain of heat travels from his hands to his brain, and he no longer cares about the storm. He reaches the top of the stairs and fumbles for the hook. He looks behind him to find the demon face has changed into a toothless skull. Its smile remains. Jeffrey screams, pulls the hook from the eye, steps out, and slams and hooks the door on the outside. He prays that thing did not make it through the door. Half mad from fright and pain, he stumbles to the kitchen and runs into the refrigerator. He opens the main door, pulls open the freezer door, and reaches for the frost, which melts under his hand. That never happened before, not even when he burned his hand on a stove eye when he was 6. The pain worsens, and Jeffrey wonders whether his hand will feel better if it explodes. His head clouds over, and his body crumbles to the floor.